Alaska. I'm Jessica, and today we are making an India-inspired feast for my daughter and her friends. We're gonna have a girls' night. Won't you join us? Let's go. We are going to get started with this India-themed meal with the dessert, of course. I wanna make the cookies ahead of time so that they are nice and cool by the time that the girls get here. My daughter and her friends will be arriving between 5 and 6, so we have a few hours in order to get everything done, and it only makes a few cookies. These are a cardamom flavored cookie. I'm starting with my preheated oven at 350 degrees, and I am going to start whipping together 1/3 cup of butter with 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. This is room temperature butter, and so it should whip up nice and fluffy very quickly. Very quickly, we want to add in 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and start combining it with that butter. I'm gonna scrape the butter off the sides so that it is combining with the sugar quite quickly. In the meantime, while this is whipping, we are going to do 1 cup of flour along with 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. Cardamom is a very heavy spice, and I don't know how used to it the girls will be, so I'm only doing 1/4 teaspoon. A pinch of salt, as well as 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Soda and the baking powder. I'm gonna sift this through while this runs. Okay, to the butter, we are going to add the flour mixture. And as we do, we simply just want to bring it together, not necessarily whipping the cookies. We're not looking to form a bunch of gluten. Let me show you where we're starting. Well, that was the driest cookie dough I had ever made. I had to put a little melted butter in it to even get it to turn into a cookie dough. That's all right. We'll just go with the flow. It should be all right. So then we pull little cookie size rounds like that and onto the baking sheet. So in India, when we visited, even the desserts were full of spices. Everything is a very, very heavily spiced there, but not everything is like pepper hot, but it is still very, very spiced. Now it wants us to cut little X's into the tops of the cookies. And even though the oven is preheated at 350 degrees, we're gonna put it in and we're gonna turn the oven down to 325, and they are gonna go for 25 minutes. It does say after the first 5 minutes. Okay, so it's a 30-minute bake. That's insane. Set a 5-minute timer. We shall see if we have dessert. It hasn't gone off without a hitch so far. Let me clean this up. We will move on and start marinating the chicken. We are starting the butter chicken ahead of time, and I have, last night I pulled out of the freezer some of our homegrown chicken breast. Some of the chickens we had parted out, and then it's a total of 4 breasts, so it's about 2 pounds of chicken that I went ahead and deboned and took off the skin as well. For the recipe, we want to start this as early as 24 hours ahead of time. You can let it go overnight, but for every 1 pound of chicken, so we're doubling this, we want 2 tablespoons of some sort of butter chicken. Use what you can find. It tells you to use a very specific one. However, we can't find that up here. So no problem. This is gonna be a similar enough spice mix that it's gonna work just fine. And then often Cody will just make the spice mix herself. So that's very strong. So we want 4 tablespoons. 4, and that is about half the box. To this, we are gonna do a teaspoon or so. I have some fresh garlic cloves, our homegrown garlic. We are gonna smash that into a paste, and I'm gonna use a couple of them. Okay, so I have this fresh nub of ginger. I'm just gonna take a sharp little spoon, peel it, and we're gonna do that by using this fine grater just straight into the pan, or the bowl, sorry. And then any of it left, we're gonna use fresh ginger again today, so we'll go through this whole nub. Ginger paste. Perfect. And then for each batch, it's a half of a cup of Greek yogurt. So 1, 2 of those. And a tablespoon of oil to just mix it around. I have avocado oil here. 1, 2. I'm gonna give this a good stir. And look at how beautiful all the chicken is completely coated. I swallowed a pistachio wrong. The cookies call for some crushed pistachios to go on top. So I'm just using this, smashing them, and they crunch up pretty good. I looked out and I thought the bag was all we had. It's salt and pepper. And then I found this small amount left in the pantry of regular salted pistachios. So that'll be better. So the recipe says when the bottoms of the cookies are brown, which these are, that they're done, and then we kind of go right in with the pistachios, and they'll kind of push into the soft cookie. Get these on, and then we want to let them cool on here for about 5 minutes because they're a super delicate cookie that wants to kind of fall apart. To make this garden fresh cauliflower, very similar, I think. They might have fried it when we were there in that little area, but this will be similar enough. Again, the girls will never know, they haven't been to India. And then if they go, maybe they'll think fondly of these things. So 3/4 of a cup of yogurt. I have some water coming up to temp on the stove. It just kind of wants you to almost blanch the cauliflower, and so we're gonna put it in the hot water for 10 minutes, it says, of yogurt. To that, 1 tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste. So again, earlier before putting everything up, I just peeled the rest of the ginger. So we're gonna do fresh ginger. I'm trying to use up the garlic that started to split in the garden because it's not going to store. So just trim off the end, and it peels super easy right now because it's fresh. Okay, so let me crush a couple of heads in here. I love all the heaviness, the spices, even with the fruits and vegetables. However, when I was there, they make something with cucumbers that is very similar to tzatziki. So that's like a really nice yogurt light sauce that they made. But my favorite thing that they also made, and they just had it, the same as here in America, we serve orange juice in the morning. They served watermelon juice. And I don't know that I had experienced that anywhere else. And that seems silly to them when, when we mentioned it. Okay, I'm now thinking of a story of something else. So we get there, we go to this resort with one of the pastors and his wife, and we walk in and they greet us with these like glasses of something to drink, and it looked like dirty water. It looked like dirty water, and mine and Aaron's systems are not built for over there. I'm not putting them down, but we're not prepared. And I'm like, Aaron, dump that out. Like, I do not know what that glass of water has in it. And we're on like this like nature reserve where there's elephants and tigers, yeah, the ones with the stripes, the whole thing. Then we asked them later, what was that? And they were like, it was lime juice. So it just looked like dirty water. So I made him dump it out. Oh, we had a lot to learn. Okay, so a teaspoon of coriander. I love coriander. Okay, and then a half of a teaspoon of cumin. Is it coriander and cumin that come from the same plant? I sort of think that they do. Okay, and then half a teaspoon of garam masala. Cody and I just have this amount of it, and I've never, whatever size some of these funky spices that we do buy and keep on hand come in, they get a jar, but they're not something that works into the rotation in our kitchen, in case you're wondering. A red chili powder, so we have this one. So how much of that? 1 teaspoon. This is a half teaspoon that I'm measuring with, just so you know. And then turmeric. I cannot find my jar of turmeric. Seriously, folks, what did I do with it? Half of a teaspoon of this. So luckily I have a whole Azure bag of it with it seals up. Normally when we get spices from Azure, they don't do that. Turmeric, pepper powder. So I think what this is referring to is actually cayenne. So half a teaspoon of that. Hey, if you try this and it's not cayenne or you can't handle the heat, hey, don't put it in. All right, and then 2 tablespoons of lemon juice and a teaspoon of salt. Okay, the water is boiling. I'm just gonna shut that off because it says hot water. And then by the time we get this done, we'll be able to soak the cauliflower in there for a few minutes. So a good amount of salt. The salt can stand up to all these seasonings and flavors, and you need salt in there. And keep in mind the salt, none of these other spices have salt in them. So they're not a pre-mix. And then in the end, once we're done, we will do cilantro and lemon slices. So let me think, how much? 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna do half of this lemon. Try to catch any seeds. Okay, and then save the other half to serve with. Oh, that's perfect. That was nice. Okay, sauce is mixed. And now I'm gonna clean this up. We're gonna cut the florets off and then put them in the hot water. Rinsed cauliflower. And they were in really big florets when we were there. So I'm just gonna pull them off like this. This is one that has like a purple hue to it. It did beautifully as well. I'm only disappointed in one of the varieties of cauliflower this year. The rest just are so, they did so well. Okay, so there's one head. Oh my gosh, you want to hear another story? When we were in that same market, just learning so much about each other's cultures, and the women don't go anywhere there without someone with them, whether that's a husband, a brother, or whatever. And when our friends were explaining everything to us before we went, the cultural differences, you know, just so we weren't being offensive or whatever. And we finally just went, okay, what is the deal? And our friend goes, we're trying to protect Jessica. Aaron, you have to protect Jessica. And when Aaron is there, people would come up to him in the streets and want to take photographs with him. Not only is he wearing a shirt that says USA, he is towering over the average person, and he was just so fascinating to everyone that we would all just be standing on the sidewalk while Aaron's in the middle of the street taking selfies with people that just, he wasn't famous, there was no reason, and they would say, he's got fans. Well, the other thing is here, like, that's disappointing. We go shopping whenever we want. We don't ask permission. We go into any stores that we want. It's very different. We're very, very blessed for the way that we live. At least I think it's a blessing. And they would giggle and laugh so hard because I would see like a store that I wanted to go in and just dip off and go to that store, and they're like, "Whoa, Jessica!" You know, I wasn't to do stuff like that. So it says to drop these in for about 10 minutes. And it says it serves 2. And it has a 20-minute cook time. All right, the brightness of colors that come out. Look at how green the green is now. The purple is purple. Just perfect. This is going to go into here. I'm gonna toss to coat. Cover. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna cover this with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge until about 40 minutes before dinner. Time to get the chicken going. It's about 5 o'clock. Dinner is at 6, and this will be done right on time. And we want to get a couple of tablespoons of oil or butter. What I like to do is a little combination of the two, that we're going to preheat a heavy cast iron, enameled cast iron pan. And I think this one is going to actually work fairly well for what we're doing. So a little butter and oil for flavor and to prevent sticking. So let that come up to temp. We'll start frying the chicken. The butter's starting to brown. Pan is preheated. We'll just get a little color on the chicken, and then it'll cook in the sauce. So come on, girls. While the chicken is going, I went ahead and grabbed the cauliflower out of the refrigerator. We're gonna get that in a baking dish, and I've already preheated the oven to 400 degrees. Oh yeah, see? We wanna get all that sauce over the top. Oh, that looks so good. Look at that, friends. All right, 400 degrees, 20 to 40 minutes. I love it when it's crunch time. Okay, also in the meantime, I had to rinse the onions. They still have a bit of dirt on them from the garden. This onion I found in the house, and so it's just gotta go. So we're gonna use it. We have all sorts of colors here. It's not really gonna matter. However, maybe a yellow or purple onion would be most traditional. In India, their onions do not taste like our onions, and it really was a shocker to me that I couldn't figure out what the one flavor was. Even at like American fast food places, you have to try them, you know, when you're there to see the differences. They had this seasoning to them, and I finally had a piece of chicken with it on it, and I said, what is this? And they said, well, that's just onion. And I asked my friend Lisette about it, and she said, yeah, their onions do taste dramatically different than ours, and I don't know why that is, but that's why I don't think you can get like the truest authentic Indian flavor without really using their peppers, their onions, their garlic, which is different than ours. But nonetheless, this will work perfect. I'm chopping fast because this is what we're gonna deglaze the pan with. And this fresh onion, straight from the garden, does have a bit of a different flavor than a store-bought onion that's been stocked for months. So hopefully it'll be delicious. We're gonna go ahead and get the chicken out. And there is so much brown bits in the bottom that we're gonna work up, and that is perfect. I have it now on low because I just need a minute. The chicken is not cooked through. It's gonna finish cooking through in the sauce. So, chicken to the side. Back in the day. So in with the onions, we're gonna start cooking those down while we add to it the garlic and the ginger. So we do want to start getting the bits off. It depends on where you get the recipe from. It'll call for either fresh tomatoes, which we have here. So I'll throw some of these in here, and then the moisture from the tomato will help get that off the bottom. Or it's going to call for canned tomatoes. We'll put them in just a minute, but we do want to help the onions along. So I'm just going to dice up a couple of fresh tomatoes. Again, size, shape, none of that matters because all of this is going to get the immersion blender. Plus, I prefer it made with fresh tomatoes, but I have canned ones, so that's perfect. And this specific recipe, which I will share in the description box, does call for the canned tomatoes. Oh, that's perfect. Coming up, and now just that little bit of moisture pulls up everything. Ginger in there. I have 1, 2, 3, like 7 cloves of garlic. Ooh. Okay, get ourselves together. 7 cloves of garlic. We're gonna let this go for a couple of minutes, then add in the spices and the tomatoes. Let's start adding the seasoning, and then we'll do the tomatoes. 2 teaspoons of chili powder. So 1 teaspoon per recipe. 1½ teaspoons of coriander, so that's 3. 1, 2, 3. Cumin is 1.5 teaspoons, so 3 as well. 1, 3. Okay, garam masala, 1/2 teaspoon, so we'll do 1 teaspoon. And then it calls for a dried spice that I couldn't even find at the local store that I got the butter chicken mix from, so I don't know what it is. So I don't think we're gonna miss it. 14.5-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, so I have a 28-ounce can. And then we have some of those fresh tomatoes in there. So let me show you this. That is beautiful, spacey. Blooming those spices. We are gonna immersion blend this. You can remove it and just put it in a food processor. We're gonna see if it fits. So now we have a perfectly smooth consistency. And now I'm gonna put the chicken in and then add the heavy cream. I had to change pans. When will I ever learn? Never. The answer to that is never. Oh, it's so beautiful, so fragrant. All right, all we have left to do is the rice, and then we're gonna get dressed. So, starting my pan, I am gonna toast the rice just a little bit. So I want a couple of tablespoons of butter. I have a serrano pepper. Omit if you don't like spice. Actually, you know, I'm just gonna break up the pepper, but not split him open. So he's gonna go in. I don't have cumin seed, so is cumin seed coriander seed? I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't think they are, because when I grow, no, I grow cilantro. I don't know, they're all related somehow. So we're just doing a little sprinkle of cumin. And then we've washed and rinsed our 2 cups of basmati rice. So that's gonna go in. Well, we've rinsed. We didn't use any soap. And strained is what I wanted to say. You just keep an eye on it. We don't want it sticking and we don't want it browning. So this is not the same that like our Mexican rice that we do. We put a little bit of color on the rice. This, we just sort of want it to absorb the butter. And then we're gonna go in with 4 cups of water. This would be a good place for that garlic scape or that onion salt that we made, but we'll just make it regular salt today. Once this comes to a simmer, we're gonna put the lid on for 15 minutes and then shut it off. And this will be perfectly fluffy rice. When Cody gets here, she's bringing some cilantro with her because we need that for the cauliflower and for the rice, and it's just fantastic. I'm gonna set the table, I'm gonna get dressed, and then bring you along. Oh, I did throw a pepper in here. I felt like it needed a little bit of spice. Perfect. This has just been simmering away. The flavors are developing and becoming a little bit stronger. I didn't think it had enough flavor, and so I used the rest of the box of that seasoning. But do whatever you feel. The girls are here. I'm late for the use. I thought we'd use beautiful wedding china just for fun. So the girls are here. We got the beautiful cauliflower out of the oven, and it gets a little cilantro on it and some lemon slices. So this is the idly that I got at the Indian store yesterday, and it says to just cover it and microwave for 3 minutes for 6 of them. Let me open these. Why are you two laughing so hard? The minted cilantro, and so I put some mint on top so the girls would know what it is. Hope these are good. Oh, I hummus sauce. else are there? We'll do 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, it says to cover it with plastic wrap, and then that's gonna go in the microwave for 3 minutes. In the meantime, I've put the oven back at 400 degrees, and we're gonna do the garlic naan, and then dinner's actually done. I'll show you the rice. So the rice is perfect and fluffy. Look at that. And we're gonna add some cilantro to it and pull the chili out. All right, we have this fantastic dinner. The girls and I are gonna dig in. We have the garlic naan, we have the fluffy Indian rice, the butter chicken, the homemade cookies, the idly, if you can see that, that's what they kind of turn out to be, as well as our cauliflower straight from the garden. We have a mint sauce and then a coconut chutney. All right, there you go. We're gonna go dig in. We hope you enjoyed spending some time with us and doing a themed meal. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. When you ring the bell, you'll get notifications. Thumbs up and comments help our channel to grow. We hope that you feel inspired to be thankful for something that you have, and also that you are blessed. Find something to be grateful for, and we will catch you in the next video. With that, bye for now. Let's put some of this on the table. And then, Blue, chill out, dude. Oh, she has already. But downstairs bathroom is G-Mom's bathroom too. I put on the table. Oh, we have fancy plates. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are we putting all of it on the table? Those are cookies. No, we can do our rice and butter chicken in there, but the rest of it we can bring in here.
What? Nothing. Mom got. She's bad with. She thinks I'm bad with cameras. She takes the world's worst videos of people sometimes. And
Me?
Yeah. You do it to me all the time.
What one?
Like one day you made me soup and I was staring at you and I was sitting there like. Okay.
Oh, okay, good.